We are going to be looking at special right triangles today. So let's first look at the 30, 60, 90 triangle. In a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the leg opposite 30 degrees will always be n. The leg opposite 60 degrees is always going to be labeled n squared to 3. And the hypotenuse across from the 90 degrees will always equal 2n. Now in a 45, 45, 90 triangle, the leg opposite 45 degrees will always be labeled n. Same with the other one since they're both the same. So then our one opposite our 90 degrees, our hypotenuse, will always equal n square roots of 2. So let's take a look at some of the examples we have here. It says the bottom of a fish tank is a square. So if we have a bottom of our fish tank, we know it has an edge of 14 inches. We want to know the distance between opposite corners. So what we are looking at is this triangle. Since we know it's a square, we have 90 degrees. And since this is our diagonal, we know that both of these, when we cut them, are going to be 45 degrees. So first steps first, let's label all of our sides for our triangle. So opposite 45 degrees is always going to equal n. So that means this side length is n as well. And across from our 90 degrees is n square roots of 2. So we want to find, since we know what n equals 14, we know this side length is 14. And this side length, since we know what n is 14, we're going to replace and substitute 14n for n. So then 14 times the square root of 2 equals 19.8 inches. To the nearest inch, it'll be 20 inches. So the length from one diagonal to the other in this fish tank is 20 inches. So here we have triangle ABC, and it states that angle A is our right angle. Angle B is 45 degrees, so that means that angle C also has to be 45 degrees. So first step, we always want to label. So across from 45 degrees is always n. So these two are n. We also know that the length from B to C is 20 feet. We know across from the 90 degrees is n squared to 2. So in this case, we don't know what n equals. Those are blank, but we do have this equation right here. So to get n by itself, we can square root both sides by 2, or divide both sides by the square root of 2. So that means n equals 20 divided by the square root of 2 is 14.14. So since we know what n equals, we know that both of our legs are also the 14.14. So AC has a distance of 14.14. Let's flip it to the back. We want to find the values of x and y if they are there. So first steps first, we label. So across from, this is also a 45, so across from both of our 45, we have n. And from our 90 degree angle is n squared to 2. So we don't know what n equals, so first we have to find it. So we divide both sides by the square root of 2. So n equals 7 divided by the square root of 2 is 4.95. And since we know that, we replace this. So n is now 4.95. So we know x equals that. That's labeled. We have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Across from our 30, we always have n. Across from 60 is n squared to 3. And from our 90 degrees is 2n. So we know what n equals. N equals 6. So to find x, we replace n with 6 squared to 3. So 6 times the square root of 3, x equals 10.39. You can solve this if you want, but when we divide both sides by 2, it's just going to repeat what we have, that n equals 6. Alright, we're going to skip the middle problem for right now. We're going to go back down to the bottom. Here we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So when we label across from the 30, we always have n. Across from our 90 is 2n. across from 60 is n squared to 3. So if that's given to us, we don't know what n equals. So first we want to solve for n and get it by itself. So we're going to divide both sides by the square root of 3. So n equals 8 divided by the square root of 3 is 4.62. So since n equals 4.62, we know that we can replace this one with 4.62. So that's what x equals. And y, same thing. We have 2 times n, which is now 2 times 4.62. So y equals 9.24. Last triangle, we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Across from our ends, or 45s, we have ends. Across from our 90 degrees is n squared to 2. So, first thing first, I know that 5 squared to 2 equals 7.07. So I know both of my legs are 7.07. So to find my hypotenuse, I plug in 7.07 in for n, and 7.07 times the square root of 2 is 10. Alright, let's take a look at this one now. First, we want to label. So we have a 45, 45, 90 degree angle, or triangle. So that means both of our legs are n, and this is n squared to 2. And our 30, 60, 90 triangle, across from our 30 is our n, across from 90 degrees is 2n, and across from 60 is n squared to 3. So, first things first, we don't know what n equals, but if we just take a look at this triangle, we can divide both sides by 2. So n equals 6. So that means this side length is 6, and this is 6 squared to 3. And 6 squared to 3 equals 10.39. So we know that from here to here is 10.39. This side length is also 6, because that's our 45. And since n is 6, we have 6 squared to 2. 6 times the square root of 2 is 8.49. So that's what equals x. Y is this whole chunk. So we have a length of 6 and a length of 10.39. So y equals 16.39.